The Vietnam War resulted in the loss of millions of human lives, with great material damage and unprecedented ecological disasters, with shattered or alienated human destinies, and the emergence of a new disease in the collective psyche, the Vietnam Syndrome. In the jungles of Southeast Asia, America recorded a historic military defeat. In Washington, in the residential district, there is a monument unique in the world, the memorial dedicated to the 58,000 American soldiers who fell for their country on a battlefield tens of thousands of kilometers away from home. The monument is unique because, unlike all the others, it does not rise to the sky, but is built below ground level. The Vietnam War reached a point where it divided American society to the point of paroxysm, engaging in a great debate between the pros and cons, and caused the U.S. President Lyndon Johnson to lose the electoral battle for the renewal of his presidential mandate. The moment of the beginning of the most controversial war in American history is not fixed by an official declaration of war, but by a resolution of the U.S. Congress, adopted on August 7, 1964. 2 days earlier, two American destroyers in the Gulf of Tonkin had been attacked by North Vietnamese ships. After ordering bombing raids in retaliation, President Johnson asked Congress for a free hand to act. The approval of the Legislative Forum was almost unanimous. The result was the launch of systematic bombings of North Vietnam and the sending of Marines to the South on combat missions. This did not prevent the impetuous offensives of the Viet Cong, who came to control half of the territory of South Vietnam. The power in Saigon, corrupt and unstable, recorded a succession of ephemeral leaders. Accusations against President Johnson, who was reproached for having lost Vietnam, began to grow stronger in American society. In 1968, the level of American troops in Vietnam had exceeded 500,000 soldiers, and U.S. Air Force planes had dropped more bombs than the Allied troops in World War II. In vain. Lyndon Johnson was not re-elected president, and popular protest movements against the Vietnam War became the headline of American news. Especially after the loss of life among the American Expeditionary Force began to accumulate dramatically. The morale of the soldiers engaged in search and destroy operations in the jungles of Vietnam also decreased dramatically. Convinced that America could not win the war against the jungle guerrillas, the new President Nixon began his term by reducing troops and intensifying the bombing. In January 1969, there were 543,000 troops in Vietnam. By December, 75,000 had been withdrawn. Nixon promised that within the next 3 years, he would achieve a peace with honor. Peace talks, begun in Paris, were gaining momentum. Anti-war actions in America were drawing millions of protesters. By April 1969, American combat losses had reached 33,650 dead, exceeding those in the entire Korean War. Morale among the combatants was deteriorating dramatically. Drug use and desertions had become commonplace. In March 1972, 120,000 North Vietnamese soldiers entered South Vietnam. The American and South Vietnamese troops were taken by surprise. The only 60,000 American soldiers left in Vietnam, as a result of the policy of Vietnamization of the war, demonstrated, by their helplessness, the failure of this policy. Not even the massive bombing of North Vietnam, including the capital Hanoi and the port of Haiphong, could change the fate of the war. The North's troops had already occupied the South when, on January 27, 1973, peace was signed in Paris on a document that confirmed the acceptance by the U.S. of the conditions set by North Vietnam. Nixon said that he had finally obtained peace with honor.